What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, the Nissan GT-R is getting another bolt-on performance part. You guys saw me collect this box, but you haven't seen it yet. But here we go. This is the S-Line front mount air intercooler kit for the Nissan GT-R. This is from AAM Competition. I'll have the link to their website down in the description below. If you have any type of Nissan or Infiniti sports car, these guys have pretty much everything under the sun for the car. So 350Z, 370Z, the Infiniti lineup, of course the Nissan GT-R. So adding their intercooler kit is definitely the next step for the car. You can also opt for the R line, which is a much bigger race-inspired one. This one should be pretty much a bolt-on design, nothing too crazy for an install. It is a massive intercooler, as you can see, definitely has some size to it. Got all the hardware and everything else needed. But we're gonna go ahead and start getting the bumper off. In one of my previous videos, a lot of people commented wanting to know a little bit better detail on how to remove the bumper. So we're gonna show that in better detail, get this thing stripped, and then start putting on the new part. So first thing on the list to go ahead and get the bumper off, we're gonna get the hood popped, and then underneath the bumper, you're gonna see these black rubber grommets. These things right here, there's like 10 of them or so under the front lip. You're gonna have them all removed, and then there is a bolt you're gonna remove as well. And then with those 10 off, we're now underneath the hood. We're gonna pop these little plastic tabs off, just use a flathead once again. And now with all of those out, we have a few more underneath here. All right, so next up, we're using a 10mm to remove these bolts. I suggest like a 7-inch extension. There we go. Now, we're gonna take the, I believe 10mm still, and the bolt is right behind the reflector right here. And you can easily just push this in place and get onto it. It's just a sharper one like that, and there's a matching one around here. So next up, to actually get the bumper off, there is a plastic thing right here. I'm just gonna wiggle off to pull this piece, and then using your flathead, we're gonna basically pull this fender liner area out from underneath the car just to get some room, because there's one more bolt. It's holding this right here, connecting the bumper to the lip. Now all we gotta do is just pull this portion of the bumper off a little bit. The reflector is gonna go with it. And then put your hand inside of it, that kind of helps. And we're gonna pop it off the tabs. Just like that, nice firm pull. So for this side, there's a metal tab you can push. And that'll pop out the reflector. And then we can twist the bulb out. Now onto the other side, I've already wiggled it off a little bit. But the same thing with this off. Now you can easily twist the bulb. So now the bumper is 100% free. And as you can see, the front end is coming off now. Ready? That is the front bumper off. It only took 30 minutes or so. And then there are some plastic tabs under here. You can see that one right there. Just have a few under here to get this piece off. And then to get the shroud off, there is some bolts under, which are right there, the yellow ones. And then we have bolts on the top right here. Alright, so those two bolts are out, and just as a recap, the first two bolts are holding these brackets here. You can see how wiggly everything is now. Those second two bolts are right there. So things are loose. I think the shroud is still holding into place somewhere. There is this duct off. Pretty cool to see just how it channels air to, I'm guessing, an oil cooler. And then moving over to the other side, I'm gonna get this piece out of the way because that's the pipe we need to get access to. So this is the windshield washer bottle fluid reservoir. That's a lot of words. So it disconnects easily, which is nice, and then I'm just gonna take the connections off. And we could just leave it like this. Yeah. And just know this is empty, or this is open, so. This, it looks like it's riveted into place. So we might have to snap the rivets off. I don't think this is gonna be used with the new one. So that's what we're dealing with to actually get this shroud off. So this will be a little interesting. We might have to just cut them off. So that shroud is out, which is nice. Now we can take a look. The stock intercooler, so it's a dual system. The other one is basically one giant one. So hopefully we can start getting this thing off. I really can't move the cooler over here out of the way. So it might be a little tight on each end. But now we have a really good look. at least getting this off, and we can kind of go from there. Now we've decided to go ahead and take the passenger's wheel off to get the fender liner out. I think that's really the only way to get to these pipes back here, because as you can see, this cooler pretty much doesn't really go anywhere. It's got a metal bracket all attached to it, and it's not moving at all. So as for an update, I have one side of the intercooler cores off, as you can see, so they are two separate pieces. Not too bad. I had to go back here to get the bolts out, which was pretty easy with the socket. And then I pulled the front forward a little bit, I'm sure the time lapse saw that, to get to these two bolts back here. Then I used this ratchet wrench right here to actually get to this. I had to pull the intercooler and then get it between the radiator and this. So here is what the stock one looks like. A lot smaller than the new one. I'd say it's a good inch and a half narrower compared to the AAM one. And then the actual channels you get, you can see how narrow these little ones are. These ones are much bigger, so a lot more airflow and then a lot more cooling just given the bigger size. So as a quick update, we are almost done with the disassembly. As you can see, this intercooler portion is almost done. We're just working on that last clamp. Taking the fender liners out is a must. Go ahead and get that done first and then get the bumper off. So that oil cooler, I'm actually gonna put back the way it was. We didn't have to mess with that at the end of the day. This thing we did have to take off. So we have completed all the disassembly for the stock intercooler. You can see it is sitting over there in the garage. Front end looks a lot different without it. Here's the new core from AAM Competition. First and foremost, as far as the quality, this thing is really nice. All the welds look really good. And then from the looks of it, I believe these end caps are all just CNC machined. Like if you get up close, you can see all the machine marks to it. It looks really, really nice. But we're just gonna play with some fitment real quick. I'm assuming.
I would assume, yeah, it's gonna go that way to fix or fit in those brackets in the back.
Yeah, it looks like these holes, I guess, would line up.
With those, yeah. Just like that.
They line up right in the center. And then with the new hardware, I would assume it's gonna be like this for the bottom. Alright guys, so it is sometime later. We've been working on mocking up the intercooler, and as you can see, this is basically how it's going to fit. And then you're going to be using these two brackets that this kit comes with. You can take a good look at what they look like, and they're going to be bolted on using the factory bolts right here and then right here, as you can see how it looks. And then this really long washer is basically a spacer between the two. And then what I'm also going to do, you'll notice a lot of these rubber grommets that came off of the factory intercooler, I'm going to use one on each side, and they're going to go in between this spacer and the top of this bracket. That way it's got a nice secure fit. And that way when it's tightened down, this rubber will help eliminate any vibrations. And then we also did have to cut a square shaped hole right into this piece just so everything can flow through it. Super easy to do, so we're gonna go ahead and take this back off, get the hole cut right here and mount it up, and that should be it. On to day 2 now, working on installing the intercooler kit. So today's goal, of course, is to finish up. So yesterday I went ahead and got the lower pipes all connected. Very easy to do, it's just one coupler and then the 90-degree elbow joint. So today, the next goal is to get the upper portion all connected. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna reuse these factory silicone pipes, and with the new pipes on the top of the core, you can see where you're gonna wanna cut these. So these stock ones will get cut about 3 inches off. And then what you're gonna be using is this piece that's part of the kit. This is going to connect the two pipes. I'm not sure if these brackets are gonna be visible or not once the bumper's back on, but I'm gonna plasti dip these black just to hide them just in case. guys, we are wrapping up. This is the last connection, and then we can actually start putting the car back together. What I'm finding, use the factory clamps for these hoses right here, and then use the ones that AAM has supplied for all the new couplers. And that seems to be the best fitment. So here's a good look at where we are now. This whole side is all back together. The cooler was already done in the previous video. These clamps are all together. So next up, this shroud here, I don't think I really need it on the car. I've seen some videos where people did trim this and make it fit. I really don't think it's necessary just because the opening in the bumper is gonna allow all the cooling. Really no need for this. But what I am going to do, this metal bracket that's all attached to it, I'm gonna remove it from this plastic shroud to reuse that. Because this bracket with this point and this point especially, that bolts to this whole lower piece and bolts that to the crash bar. So that's just extra support and structure. I do wanna retain that, so it shouldn't be too hard to pop out. So with these two structure beams out, they're basically just gonna bolt right here and hold this piece a little bit stronger to the crash brace. Can't remember if it goes this way or that way, so we'll put these in once the crash brace is in. So then last up, we'll go ahead and pop the shroud on. It just pops into place. So we are about ready to pop on the crash bar and actually wrap this up by putting the bumper on after that. Mike's gonna go ahead and start it up just to see if anything weird is going on, any leaks or anything like that. Alright. I mean, everything is nice and tight. The joint right here goes all the way up to here, so this is nice and secure, same with right here. There's enough flex and everything, so any type of little bending in it isn't really gonna be an issue. Everything's looking pretty good. Looks like it's mounted securely. Alright. Well, looks good from here. Of course, we won't know until we hit boost and stuff, but there we go. Let's wrap this thing up.
Alright guys, so the car is coming together nicely. Last up is finagling the bumper through our tight workspace here. A lot of work.
Yeah.
Huh, Bri?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward when you take your time with it.
When you know what you're doing.
We didn't really pay attention to any instructions. That's our own fault.
Your fault.
I might have not paid attention. But everything's in place. I like how I did not use the shroud and I just used the cross beams or the support beams. I have seen people like cutting them and trimming, but when I go to sell the car and put it back to stock, you know, that shroud is now easy to pop back in place. But it looks good. Everything fits perfectly.
Ready? Of course, when we start filming, you can't catch anything.
Take two.
Oh.
Alright, well that is the installation complete. I wiped down the front just to get our greasy handprints all off of it. But definitely looks pretty sweet in the front bumper. You can get a really good look at how the big core looks. Way more aggressive than the stock one, and it's nice and shiny versus just the dull like aluminum.
Alright guys, so time to get cold start up, another cold start up in the GT-R, get it out of the garage. You're good. Alright, you're good.
Well that, quite a bit of work to do the intercooler, I'm not gonna lie. But overall, fairly straightforward as you guys can see. But it's all done now. I will be doing a video comparing the stock air intake temperatures to the new ones, because obviously this should cool it down a little bit better and make this thing much more efficient. I don't know if the sunlight you can see it well, but it looks sweet in here. It definitely looks like there is something under the hood of this car. But that is one good looking intercooler. Definitely a huge shout out to AAM Competition. Let me get under the shade real quick. But huge shout out to AAM Competition. If you're looking for any type of performance part for the Nissan GT-R, the 350Z, the 370Z, any of the Infiniti sports cars, they seriously have all the bolt-on parts. It's insane what they have. Turbo upgrades even, they have everything. And all of our subscribers will get hooked up, so definitely check them out. And then of course they do tuning and everything. So check out all the information to AAM down in the description below. But that is going to wrap up the video installing a front mount intercooler on the GT-R. This car is full bolt-ons now. Everything as far as the bolt-on part is done. My car is a full stage 3 straight piped around 600 wheel horsepower monster. I'm excited to drive around with this. But hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Be sure to give it a huge thumbs up, subscribe for plenty more content to come, and we'll see you all next video.